I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, I've done it the wrong way around. I've drawn an arrow and I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his arse.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona,
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome along to another episode of the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. I'm Daniel Cody, and with me as normal are Craig Savage and Charlie Betts.
Coming up, we've got our EFL and non-league review, story of the week, question of the day, and our topic today is English Academy System. How's everyone's week been?
Very, very tiring. I don't know about you lads, but I am exhausted.
Why are you exhausted, Dan?
Well, as you know, I have another channel doing Football Manager videos predominantly, and Football Manager, the FM19 beta came out last night, and I have hashed together 4 videos today. You may notice in one of them I spelt the word episode wrong.
Oh, did you really? I was literally about to say, no, you didn't hash them together. I thought they were quite good, but
generally, I'm a bit ahead, but that was just... I won't be doing that again in a hurry, let's put it that way.
I don't tend to play... What's a beta? What's the difference?
It's basically a way they can give the full release early without... and cover themselves for any problems or mistakes and things like that. They used to just do a demo, which was only half season. Yeah, it's got like a report button if something's wrong. That's all.
Oh, okay. Right, very good.
What about you, Charlie?
No, not a lot. No. It's broke up for half term now, week off.
Oh, lovely.
Another one for the school teacher.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. No, in terms of football, getting slowly back playing 6-a-side and training and whatnot. But yeah, nothing exciting. Yes.
Speaking about getting back playing, I know someone who won't be soon.
No.
How
did
Craig, you've had your op since our last episode.
I have. The op went well.
Good. You've been showing off your scars already?
The scars do look pretty disgusting. It was a clean job, I just made it clear. It just looks disgusting. So
God bless the NHS.
Any squeamish people, it won't be posted up on YouTube. So
No. No, and did you enjoy non-league day despite being on crutches? Because obviously last Saturday...
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed non-league day. My team won 5-1 against a not so good side. Steventon. But yeah, no, our team took our chances very well. Hat-trick and...
We're not going to talk about my non-league day.
Why not?
No, we got beat 7-1. No, so you weren't at a non-league game, but you went to Barnsley. We've been talking about this sort of off air for a while, but how did it go? Because I haven't actually had your sort of feedback on the day.
It was okay for the day. Barnsley was as good a side as I predicted, which we'll talk about in League One. One fact about Barnsley was coming out of the train station, going to the town centre. The main road has a level crossing, and I've never seen that in the middle of a town before.
Oh, really?
What?
Like, if you come out the train station and you want to go walk down the path to the high street.
Yeah.
There's a level crossing where the train tracks is just before the station. I've never seen that in a big built-up town before.
I think that's more of a northern thing, to be honest, mate.
I've been to plenty of northern towns and cities, and I have never seen that before. But yeah, that was just an interesting thing from the week. If you do like to watch train spotting and things like that.
And final question: when's your next away day, and where you go?
I am going to Rochdale on the 2nd or 3rd of November, whichever one it is, and that will be a lovely day up by Manchester.
And that's not a lunchtime kickoff.
That is a 3 o'clock kickoff. Thank fuck.
And we start the championship. It was international weekend, but 2 managerial appointments. We'll start with Aston Villa once again. Dean Smith.
You can't let them dominate our podcast.
No, we're not going to. No, we're only going to mention this once.
We're not going to mention them for the first 4 games of Dean Smith to let him actually have a breather on him.
So he's now in charge. He's got John Terry as the assistant manager.
Who wears white boots as a coach. I mean, for me, I think that's sacrilege and shouldn't be allowed.
One interesting thing from that, Sky Sports.
Yeah.
On YouTube, the day after Dean Smith was appointed as the manager, put out a video saying from the debate saying, should John Terry be appointed as manager? Which I thought was quite amusing. That's all I have on that one.
Do you know? I do think it's been. Do you know the biggest criticism of the whole thing, really quickly for me, is that there's been so much more coverage of John Terry being an assistant manager
than Dean Smith being in charge.
And maybe that's the way they want it. Maybe they want that, and that gives them a better chance of keeping hold of the job.
A proven coach, supports the club, has done a good job in that division before and in other divisions.
But you wouldn't know that if you were maybe not as interested in or educated in that sort of league. You wouldn't have a clue that, like you say, used to play for. Used to support them or whatever else. Not used to. Of course, he still supports them. But do you know what I mean? All that stuff that went with it.
Oh, it's off to a good start.
Well, speaking of Dean Smith, he left his former club, Brentford. They've just appointed Thomas Frank.
Indeed, yeah.
Who's a coach already there.
Honestly say, I don't know much about him.
Well, he was already a coach there, so he stayed.
Which assistant? Yeah.
Yeah. So best.
He used to manage Bromby, and he finished 4th of them in Denmark, which I don't actually know. They're quite a large team. I don't know if that's necessarily a good barometer of all.
I've got to be fair, they have got a history of quite clever appointments, Brentford.
Yes, they have.
So
Warburton in one and
so
Euro Rosler. So
Euro Rosler was the one I was thinking of. Yeah. So hopefully he'll do well there.
Well, that's it for the Championship. On to League One. Obviously, the highest attended game of the Football League was your game. You was at Oakwell.
Despite it being on TV at 12 o'clock
yeah,
and on iFollow, which we'll mention later on. We'll save that for another 10 minutes.
No, that's pissing me off.
It was a good attendance. Luton fans took nearly 1,000 up, I think, despite the fact that it was at 12 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So people like me, where we booked our trains for Saturday morning, had to change them back to either very early or on Friday and then pay for overnight accommodation. So,
and that obviously wasn't reimbursed by...
that's not the
Sky
bit of
Sports.
No. So it's a really good attendance based on that. I've got to say, they look as good a side as I thought. I had them to go up.
Yeah, I was impressed, Barnsley, actually. Very impressed.
They attacked with such fluency, the pace. It reminded me of when they played Charlton, which is another team I think we all predicted to go up. So I've got no doubts that they'll do well this season.
Battle at the bottom, Oxford United beat Plymouth.
Yes.
So Carl Robinson has got a lucky victory.
Well, let's not worry about Carl Robinson, eh, Charlie?
Don't mention that, man. Carry on.
I wanted to mention the other side of that, Plymouth. Derek Adams had a lot of fans on his back at the weekend.
Yeah.
He reminded fans to judge them at the end of the season. They've got more points than they did this time last year. Which I thought was quite a good attack. That's not really a good thing.
Yes,
and they finished 7th or 8th.
Exactly. Quite famously last year, they had such a massive improvement after Christmas that... Yeah, I do think everyone's fallen in... Not everyone, sorry. A lot of people fall into this habit of judging people far too quickly.
Agreed.
In the Football League.
Agreed.
Well, the fact he's been there for a couple of years now, obviously he took Plymouth up from League 2 to League 1.
How many times could you say be careful what you wish for?
Yeah, and you have to look at the resources available to Plymouth. I know they're a bigger club, but they're not in the same bracket.
It's not really the size of the club that's the issue, it's the area.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's a lovely place to be in summer, but in winter you're cut off.
Yeah, exactly. You are. Yeah.
But the thing is, I think the fact that he had that turnaround from Christmas onwards to the reaching near the playoffs last season, you can't expect him to at least be higher up this season than what they are now.
Maybe they're just slow starters, you never know. I had one stat from League One because Craig, you mentioned in the last episode that what happened at the top of League One because all the top 3 lost. Well, this week all the top 4 won. 5th place Sunderland didn't play due to internationals, and Accrington have entered the top 6 by winning.
Yes, they have.
So a really good achievement for them. Obviously, Luton are still up in the top half. Coventry are comfortably mid-table. Only Wickham were struggling a little bit. So
yeah, Accrington are playing without fear. Really, they just play for fun.
And to be fair, in League One, you don't often see that style. You don't often see the complete Route 1 style. Which, to be fair, John Coleman's absolutely nailed to a T there.
They've got nothing to lose. They've got absolutely nothing to lose, and I think they're showing in their football, which is great.
I just have one more thing from League One. It's not football related at all, but Joe Thompson of Rochdale battled cancer twice. He did an interview with the BBC this week. Absolutely brilliant. I'd urge anyone to go and listen to it because I just thought it was absolutely fascinating. The way he spoke, he came across absolutely wonderfully.
Yeah, I think you got some good feedback from Pep Guardiola and Pochettino.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in football. You sort of learn who the good guys are at that point, don't you? Which absolutely fair play to him, and to be back playing again, obviously, which is remarkable.
Yeah, I think it puts things in context, doesn't it? That sort of stuff. So yeah.
League 2.
Jaden Stockley.
You've nicked it from me.
I'll let you two talk about Jaden Stockley, so I don't get myself in trouble.
You go first.
Well, his goal scoring form. He's got the most in England so far in 2018.
22 in 2018.
Never did that for Luton, did he?
There it is. Such a bitter man still.
Yeah.
But
I'll shut up until you finished about him.
No, excellent form by him. He's beaten the likes of.
Well,
in the Premier League, really. So
technically, yeah, he's got more. More goals.
Oh, you're proving we're not a Premier League podcast, there, aren't you?
He's got more goals than
That's
Harry
not the
Kane, isn't he? I think he's only behind Messi and Ronaldo.
Yes, he is. So
calendar goals, or however you word it, but. Yeah, as you say, he's a bit of a journeyman, and so I think was he at Aberdeen at one point? He was
Aberdeen. He played Europa League for.
So yeah, it's good. I think I like Exeter as a club. I think the fact they stuck with
you had them to go up, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I just think it's a good club, nice, well-run sort of thing. Loyal. No, genuinely.
Yes.
Loyal's a very good word for them.
So yes, I think I was glad to see him doing sort of
Another highlight of the week, Lincoln. We all had them to go up, and they won 6-2 at Port Vale.
Yeah, 6 different goal scorers.
6 different goal scorers. A very good game, and the highlights for it were entertaining. There were a couple of bizarre goals on there, but it was a good watch, and they seem to be absolutely flying.
Lincoln doing what they do best.
The only thing that's a worry is that every time a job comes up in the Championship or League One now, Danny Cowley's the second favourite.
Yeah.
Well, too right.
Yeah, absolutely right. But if he finds one that's attractive to him, I feel like them, not just him, because the assistant's his brother as well. A lot could change all of a sudden there at Lincoln. Other things, I've got Cambridge into the relegation zone.
Yep.
Lost at home to McDonald's.
Yeah. Do you know, funny enough, I was talking to someone at work about Cambridge the other day, and they're just it's going to sound terrible, but they're just sort of I don't want to say a nothing club because that's wrong, but they're never really going to go up. They're just
They're
sort
stuck
of float.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you sort of
I know
think,
what you
Well, we had quite a rivalry with them with Luton in the conference because we were there at about the same time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that they saw it as a huge rivalry, and
We just saw
obviously
it as
we just saw
another
it as
game.
another game. Which
Yeah.
is, I guess they haven't really got anyone really close, have they?
No,
They used to have a bit of a rivalry with like Peterborough and Northampton, but they've not really been in the
Yeah.
same league for a while. But they've got
Exactly.
Northampton this year, so
yeah.
Danny Rose of Mansfield, he's I didn't realise that he put himself in the transfer list in the summer.
Right.
Obviously, he's probably listened to wrong people, the agents and that, and say, yeah, you did get a big move here, big move there.
Yeah.
so
It didn't come to fruition. He's now taking himself off the transfer list, admitting that he fucked up.
So there are plenty of topics we've talked about to note for the future where we've said they come from the Premier League and we're talking about them as they find their way down. It looks like we're going to be talking about bloody agents soon, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
that won't be too long.
In
will
League
it?
2 we're
Well,
going
there
to
was
be
that
talking
thing,
about
wasn't there?
agents.
That I can never pronounce his name. I keep going back to that Morgan Ferrier. You know,
Yes.
who's at
Oh, yeah.
and no, but that was in the National League. There was a whole debacle with him and his agent then. So, like I say, it's exactly the same thing now.
We might as well turn next week's show into an accounts meeting.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of others in League 2. Newport obviously featured in the last episode for their Manager of the Month award.
Yeah,
They're
well
in the
done
top
him.
3. They beat Stevenage.
No, that's not really hard.
They're in the top 3, but they have a goal difference of 0.
Really? Are they?
Only team in the top 9 to have a goal difference that's not positive. Which,
Well.
obviously, that's because of that 6-0 defeat at home
Yeah.
to the Oval, where he's still got Manager of the Month. Anything else for League 2? I've got one.
Go on.
Forest Green no longer invincibles.
No.
Carl at Northampton. Good start.
Yes.
Beat them. 2-1.
Yes. Last minute, wasn't it?
It was last minute, yeah.
Crowd went on the pitch for that. I don't know why. It's only 1-0 against Forest Green. No, all due respect to Forest Green.
2-1.
2-1, sorry. But it was last minute goal. Who cares about the result? At the end
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
day,
But
Forest Green lost.
it's a mid-game,
It's his
mid-season
first
game.
game.
There's nothing
Yeah,
in it.
stuff been riding on it, lads.
But,
Unless
yeah.
you betted on it. So,
So there's only one thing left that's related to the EFL, which is the Checker Trade Trophy.
Go on.
So most of the games took place in the midweek before last, but obviously, as we
Yeah.
mentioned, we recorded that episode early due to Craig's up. So I want to talk about Luton and MK Dons, who played at home.
did you go?
I didn't go.
Oh.
But I did see a number of complaints online about people who had chosen not to go because it was £18 and I watched it on iFollow.
Yeah, which
Which
I still think
the
it's
streaming service was poor, apparently.
Well,
what a surprise!
Yeah, low. I mean, even now, week after week after week, you put that in on Twitter or something, you just see it's just
And
constant negative.
The thing I find funny is I believed you when you said in the first episode of the second season that it'll only be a few weeks and they'll have solved all these issues and it'll be a problem. But it looks
Yeah.
like, if anything, it's going to help attendances at this rate.
Yeah, although to be honest, moving on to that EFL I follow, they've actually released a few facts and things about it. So it's obviously what three months in more or less. Give or
Go
take a couple
on.
of weeks. So of the 72 football league clubs, 58 have been using it.
Yes.
So notable ones who haven't: Accrington Stanley, Charlton Athletic, and Forest Green Rovers.
Yeah, we've spoken about Accrington before
who've
with this
admitted out of
summer.
it. So there's been over 50,000 streams of it in the UK and Ireland.
Oh.
So yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It was
But
figures.
58 clubs, 50,000. I was going to say, that's not that. That's not
No,
bad.
no. So of that, then there's 130,000 live video streams across that and overseas.
Uh-huh.
So it's that suddenly you get obviously a few more from there.
Overseas, no problem with that.
No. But they reckon around 11,000 people have used it from 165 different countries. Which,
But again, that's not a problem.
yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, the most streamed game was Ipswich versus Norwich, which was 2,500 people.
Derby.
But the majority, and this is the important bit, and this is the bit they fall back on.
Despite it was on Sky Sports.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. This is where they fall back on it. Apparently, the majority of the domestic users have been over 25 miles away from wherever that game was being played. So people in the UK are streaming it. For example, like Barnsley, Luton,
But that's what we said, away attendances, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that. But that's the thing. That's where it's going to hit them in that sense. They obviously got around it because they're not allowed to on a Saturday show it, are they? Between 3:15 and 5:15.
Apart
Yeah.
from the international
Exactly,
breaks, which I'm
those-
going to talk about in non-league day
Yeah,
review.
which was the 8th of September and the 13th of October so far. So yeah, basically in a nutshell, it seems to be the away fans that are getting hit more than.
I know we've
home
gone
ones with
past the Barnsley Luton already, but can I just say well done to Barnsley because they made the adult prices £10 to match iFollow, which I thought was really good.
So,
yeah,
is that
To
again?
attend the game.
Oh, that's
Barnsley
excellent.
made
Well
the
done,
ticket price
Barnsley.
£10 because it was on Sky at lunchtime.
Oh, well done, Barnsley.
One other thing on the Checker Trade Trophy, I know we've gone a bit off tangent with iFollow. Charlton won 8-0 at Stevenage, and I just wanted to put that in there.
And Lee.
Yes. So, on to non-league.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Ebbsfleet. They've got some financial trouble.
Yeah, I've got a big article.
Yeah, the players have not been paid 7 out of the last 10 months.
They have been
Months?
paid.
They've been paid late.
They've been paid late, exactly.
Shall I say? 7 of the last 10 months.
At that level, it's so hard if you've got mortgages and all sorts. You know
Exactly,
what I mean?
yeah. And, the coaches Steve Gritt and David Yupp have left.
They've been there for a long time.
They've been there for a long time,
Before
so-
McMahon, when he was a player.
Very concerned about Ebbsfleet right now. Considering they've got, they've obviously done up the ground a little bit. New with the owner, so what the fuck is going on there?
Well, I didn't realise how far it went back, because obviously you'd mentioned 7 of the last 10 months. Then for pre-season they turned up late, which probably a lot explains their early season form, but that was because they hadn't been paid for the last month before the summer. They've dropped down to 17th this season. Obviously we've mentioned them before. I think we mentioned it when Gateshead won there on the TV cameras.
Yeah.
Daryl McMahon just put out a perfectly professional statement. It looks like he's going to stick with them despite the fact that all of his allies at the club have gone. A lot of players are going to leave. They've been loaning players out to help pay the rest of those wages. The chairman did come out with a statement today, and it was the classic cliche, 2 little paragraphs, not much in it. So he just said he's still committed. I've been pumping money into this club and I am now aiming to restructure it and make it self-sufficient, which basically means I'm going to do what could have happened if the fans had just owned the club, which has made it self-sustainable.
Didn't they have that, like, weird ownership before?
They did, yeah. They had that ownership. Do you remember they had that thing where the fans picked the team?
It was some weird
Oh
thing.
yeah, I remember reading
Yeah,
about that. It was
it's
shocking.
weird
That
It
you
was
just
a feature on Soccer Saturday.
Yeah, that's
Who's
it,
going to
yeah.
make the sub next? But yeah, it's a bit of a strange one to start with.
Anything else in the non-league?
we
National
had
League, shall I say?
Sutton, you know, the Iron Brew Cup.
Oh,
which
yes. Yes, Sutton.
Yeah, you wanted to have a little talk about it.
Yeah, I quite like it as a competition. I know there's people that are anti it, but I think, you know, when else as a player of that level you really going to get the opportunity to travel around?
I guess
I can understand what the negativity is about, because considering, like, from Sutton, obviously being in London, or South London should we say, going all the way to Ireland or the
But
Scotland.
there's 2 points to that.
It's a long way.
But you
Obviously,
don't-
I know the league. I know that the league will pay for it.
No, but what I'm saying is they didn't have to accept the invitation. You
No,
know what
I
annoyed me was the
understand why
manager
they took it.
afterwards. The manager afterwards said, "Oh yeah, no, I won't be doing that again next year," and started giving off about it. Yeah, he's happy to take the prize money for winning the previous round for starters. And secondly, no one forced them to enter. So I agree with what you're saying. You know, it might be a lot of aggro, people travelling from London, etc. Well, you would have known that long before you entered the competition.
Wow.
Do you know what the biggest?
It really
not
has to be.
really.
You think about it. Look, the only other places you're going to go, probably the nearest one outside of Boreham Wood would then be somewhere in Wales, wouldn't it? You're still going to have to travel, aren't you? You know, I don't think you can moan about
The
that.
big problem with it is normally the teams that finish near the top of the National League are professional, and Sutton aren't.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they weren't at the time. That was the problem.
Agreed.
Which, if it had been, say Tranmere had stayed down,
Yeah.
then it would have been them. It wouldn't have been a problem. would it?
I mean, it's another talk for another episode, but I think it's a good competition, and I sort of I felt a little bit like it was a bit bitter and a sore loser to then moan about it afterwards.
I agree to
He
an
did get
extent.
sent off
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good competition, but there is a little bit of work that needs to be
Yeah,
done. The
definitely.
logistics
A lot
for
of
semi-pro
work needs to be
sides.
done.
We mentioned before about what if the finals between an
Yeah,
English and a Welsh
agreed.
side or something like that. you
Yeah,
know,
held in Scotland. No one's made it really.
or Northern Ireland v Republic of Ireland in Scotland, even more so because it's overseas. Then,
Yeah,
isn't it? So,
no, definitely.
a couple of other bits in the National League. Braintree drew at Salford.
Yeah, it took him the last minute for Salford to equalise.
Yeah, it's a shame really. It would have been one hell of a story.
Do you know he's in caretaker charge at the moment for Braintree?
Hakan
Harriton.
That's
There's
it.
a former Luton coach under
He
John
was.
Steele.
Did you know? Have
Former
you seen
manager as
how
well.
many applications they had for the job as well?
No.
120.
Well, for
It's not
Braintree.
a- but
Kid you not?
We've
120
mentioned before.
applications.
It's the heart of
two-thirds-
Essex.
We've mentioned before 2/3 of managers never get a second job. There's so many out there. The other one at the bottom there, Dover appointed Andy Hessenthaler.
Yes,
The
I saw
safest-
that, yes.
the
Yeah,
safest
yeah,
pair of
yeah.
hands in football, eh?
Yeah. I forgot
Yeah,
about that,
so
actually, yeah.
he's left Eastleigh.
He has, which I'm not surprised about. Eastleigh is another one where they had so much investment. They built that one stupid, huge stand in their
It's a
ground.
weird stand.
And I honestly just
Again,
see them dropping slowly.
It's,
back there.
it's another club in an area where it's going to struggle.
It's
to
hard
get
to
sorted
do it.
up. You know, it's...
The last one was Wrexham beat Dagenham. Dagenham still in the bottom four. I just like to keep pointing that out every week. By the way, I don't want them to go down.
No,
it's just,
I quite
can
like
say-
Peter Taylor actually.
Come
I
on,
don't like
Tim.
Peter
Tim, come on.
And
Get in goal.
Tim
As
Howard.
as you mentioned, Ebbsfleet, Solihull Moors won again against them.
Yeah.
Look at Tim Flowers. I saw this again. He's,
It's going to bite you.
We'll have to do it at the end of the season. We'll have
That-
to do a
that is
special
gonna
award
be-
for Tim Flowers.
you know, on Football Manager, you had these lads who, you know, they were meant to be amazing, and it turns out they're rubbish in real
Freddie
life.
Adu.
Yeah, Freddie Adu, Cherno Samba.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tim Flowers and Solihull Moors are going to be my version of my predictions. I'll tell you now, honestly, they're going to be the one that I could get another 95% right, but I'll always be reminded of that one. I'll tell you.
Oh dear.
Go
North
down-
and south. North
So,
first.
North, yeah, go on North.
I've only got one bit,
Uh-huh.
which is about York City.
Oh,
Sam
God.
Collins has been in caretaker charge since August.
Yeah.
And he's finally been given the job.
Okay.
His new assistant manager, I use the word legend very lightly, Middlesbrough and Birmingham legend Stuart Parnaby. I just went, what a name that I haven't seen for 10 years. Just
If you want to play Premier League games, just name random players. Stuart Parnaby will be like high score like a Scrabble.
I tell you, if you get him on pointless, nearly always a pointless.
Stuart Parnaby would be ledge.
Yeah, no.
But yeah.
Another one for we're on the North, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Stockport County got nothing to do with football really, but their mascot.
Lovely football podcast, but
Yeah, no, you know what I mean. Not nothing to do with football, but you know, their mascot on Saturday. Do you know how old he was? 80 years old.
Oh, I did see this.
Yeah,
I
so
like
he's
that.
been coming since he's a child. You know,
I did see this.
literally.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, and I
think
think
it's nice.
it's brilliant. So yeah, they put him in to celebrate his 80th birthday. I didn't realise that their nickname was also the Hatters.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
similar to-
That's what I've always had a soft spot for.
Is that what it is?
Oh, I never did. So just
But
went
yeah,
to
there
the
you go.
ground, really.
So 8-year-old mascot.
And I will still go to one of their games this season.
On to the south, we're going to start with Truro City.
Are we now?
Yeah,
You better do that then, because I haven't got any others.
Yeah, you've got a bit of soft spot for him, haven't you?
I think because of the story of what happened with their ground and the
Yeah.
ground got sold to build a Lidl's there. But
It's a difficult
new
place as well,
developments
isn't
happen.
it?
Yeah, new development is Lidl's not going to be built there now. So,
So what's going to happen?
So at the moment they're going to leave Plainmoor, which is a ground share at Torquay United.
Yeah.
They're going to go back there
This season.
this
during
season,
the middle of the season.
probably the next week or so. Going to go back there, play at Treyu Road. But in the future, they're going to be trying to get to a stadium sharing with rugby union side Cornish Pirates.
I
They
did
used to
see
be
that.
Penzance, didn't they? Penzance Pirates or whatever
Yeah,
they're called.
something
Yeah,
like that, yeah.
that's the old
Don't know, it's not a rugby podcast.
But no,
move
I'm just
on.
saying.
No,
yeah,
they're gonna be-
Penzance is right on the.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
down.
So they're going to. I hope in the future build a stadium in Cornwall called Cornish Pirates
So hard at
and
that
Truro
level
and
now,
Penrith
isn't it?
College. So it'd be nice to go back to their ground because their attendances haven't been great there. Obviously, it's a long trip to get to from Truro
Unbelievably
to
long trip, yeah.
Torquay. So
That's the problem with
I
clubs
think-
down there. There's no near club. Is
No,
there?
no, exactly.
So hopefully fans can go back there. It's local
Yeah,
to
good
them,
luck to
and I wish them all the best.
Dartford.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper Derek Ibrahim, I think it is.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it is, yeah.
Scored a free kick from his own half.
He did.
And it was a good free kick as well. It wasn't
How
like a...
far in his own half
He's
is
not a
About
stranger
halfway, I
to.
think.
he? Oh.
He's not a stranger to sort of unique news. Did you know that?
He's done this before, isn't he?
Well, he's done it before, but did you also know he actually has the record for conceding the quickest international goal?
For Gibraltar.
Yeah, against
oh yes, it's him. Yes.
Against Belgium, Christian Benteke, 8.1 seconds.
Is that the Christian Benteke?
Yeah, so he's in the record, which fastest ever World Cup qualifying goal. Sorry.
But it was quite a good goal. You normally see them where they bounce about 5 times
Yeah.
and deceive the keeper. It wasn't one of them. It was just a very good free kick.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Speaking of Dartford,
Oh dear. This is
Segue.
the one you've been waiting for.
Yes,
This
isn't
is a
it?
sad story, though. I've got
it's a
to-
sad story.
Yeah.
Their tenants, Tainsmead Town, have unfortunately folded. They currently were playing
What,
in
they Essex Senior League?
the Bostic South East.
Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah.
Bostic League South East Division.
Sad, we're in October. There's so many stories of them already folding clubs.
Currently bottom, but there was one story that after paying, the chairman saying that after paying all the players and all that stuff, they only made £11.
Oh, jeez.
£11.
Well, they were playing out of Dartford's ground, weren't they?
Yeah, they're ground sharing. Yeah, Dartford. Yeah. So which is really sad. There might be some talks that might come back, but if that's going to happen, they have to go near the Thameslink. But
Once it's
there's
happened once,
a
it's
couple
impossible,
of there's a
isn't it?
couple of ground sharing grounds in that
Yeah.
area already, so it's going to be hard. So if they do come back, I hope you all the best.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's sad.
Last bit on the National League South was Torquay won again. They're still unbeaten in all competitions under Gary Johnson.
He's
Doing a good job there. And that links on to the next bit, which is its FA Cup 4th qualifying round weekend.
Yeah,
One of the most important weeks of the year for non-league clubs.
I
They're-
love FA Cup weekends.
Absolutely. And it makes sure getting into that first round, the prize money takes such a jump at that point.
It's a
The
massive
TV
game.
money takes a jump if you can get a good tie.
Massive game near us, isn't it? Hitchin are playing Leatherhead.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Place in
game.
the first round proper, isn't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
Good luck to
two-
Hitchin.
Just a quick mention, again for non-league fans, Dunstan UTS, we mentioned them last time.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes.
I got the result completely wrong. Read the wrong notes. They actually beat
Shock.
Chester 4-3.
Yeah.
So I took Charlie's advice there and read the wrong notes. They're at home to Gateshead tomorrow on BBC, and because it's the 4th qualifying round, you don't have to worry about all that connected shit. It's on the red button.
Oh,
Very
good.
good.
So that's nice.
Watch it. People watch it. Don't worry
Yeah.
about Chelsea Man United. It's an
Yeah,
early
don't worry.
kickoff, is it?
It is an early kickoff.
Don't worry about Chelsea Man United. You know,
Well, most
Chelsea
people can't
will
afford
win.
Sky Sports. It's only year
Yeah,
so.
so terrestrial TV, terrestrial
I just thought I'd pick out a couple of games where I think there might be a shock.
Go for it. Talk to me.
So, Ebbsfleet, we've mentioned the troubles they've had.
Who they got?
They're at home to Worthing.
Oh,
So I just thought Worthing, it's not a huge distance to
it's
travel.
not far. No.
Yeah, so I just thought maybe that could be a shock if their minds aren't on the game. Again, if you haven't been paid, it can always be difficult
Yeah,
at that
that's
level where
true,
you've got
yeah.
mortgages and things like that. And the other one I had is Warrington at home to Halifax.
All
And I
right.
predicted Halifax to go down. They're just starting to struggle a little bit now. So they drew at home to Chesterfield in a TV game last week.
Yes,
so
they did.
It was a really bad game, which is why I didn't mention it. But I just thought that one might be a shock as well.
Just going back to Chesterfield, I saw the highlights. I'm like, the guy that scored for Chesterfield, he must have looked
I mean,
like...
they must have been short highlights.
He looked about 65.
Yeah, it was a very strange game.
Yeah.
I had one thing from below the National League North and South.
Go on.
Yeah.
Dale Jennings, do you remember that name?
Oh yeah, he's Bayern.
Tranmere to Bayern Munich for £1.5 million,
Yeah.
rising to £3.5 million.
Don't remember that.
All fell apart for him. Last professional appearance in 2015 at MK Dons. Has last week, or the end of last month, signed a contract at Runcorn Town in the North West Counties League.
Oh, okay.
He is determined to get his career back on track and resurrect it. And
He's had a few private problems, hasn't he?
yeah, which we won't go into.
No.
But rather than talking about his personal life, he's blamed injuries, which I just thought was a bit sad.
Yeah, cop out.
That's what we do.
One more bit of news. Our resident Welsh team that we now support.
Oh,
the
yes.
Let's Do Welfare.
Yes.
So we've been following their
They're
youth
not
team.
story of the week this week.
I
They're
love
not story of the
them.
week. However, massive game for them tomorrow. They're in the Gwent County Division 1.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, they got a league now?
no, it's the
No,
first
it's the first
senior
team. Oh,
team.
my
So the senior
apologies.
team now, they're playing.
We're covering this card properly.
Yeah, there we go. So they're playing a team from the league below the Welsh Premier League.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a massive game. They're playing on a 3G tomorrow, so
Ooh.
best of luck. And yeah, hopefully they'll be making
We are rooting for you
massive,
guys.
massive payday for them if they do get through.
And I've got one bit of news from Scotland.
Oh,
Scotland this season. We've talked about the managerial merry-go-round a few times.
yeah.
From the SPFL, so that's the 12 Premier League clubs and the 30 clubs in the Football League. 13 out of 42 have already left their positions this
Bloody hell.
season.
I think there
The
is
middle of
one.
October.
Bloody hell. Well, it is Scotland's standard's not great though.
But
No,
I mean,
but
in
still.
Scottish League too.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
Depends what you're setting the bar at, isn't it?
Absolutely, but I just think this has gone too far now. Where we're talking about like Scottish League 1 and 2, we're talking about the Welsh League, Northern Ireland, and things like that.
Yeah.
You can't be playing. You can't be spending your turnover on getting rid of
No,
managers.
and it does cost. It does cost at the end of the day.
And that's my favourite part of the show. It's Story of the Week.
So I think you've got a bigger story of the week, Craig, but I've got a couple of mini ones just to get us sort of warmed up.
And I've got nothing.
No, you've got nothing.
No.
First one, Usain Bolt obviously scored a couple of goals in
Yes, he
Australia
did.
on
I did
trial.
see that.
Unfortunately, they
goals.
turned down. They haven't offered him a contract. He's actually been offered a 2-year deal for Valletta, which is in Malta.
Yeah, he's turned that down.
Yeah. Do you know why the Australian team turned him down?
Oh, he's actually been turned
Hey,
down
is-
by Central
Has he
Coast.
been turned down?
Yeah, he has because
What was that?
his agent wants 1.63 million a year for him.
Which they'll make back in sponsorship and shirts.
Yeah, but,
immediately.
unfortunately the club can't afford it. So as it stands at the minute, he can't sign for the Australian team until they can raise the 1.63 million pounds in wages. So they've applied to the Australian Football Association to help them
It's
to
a bit
pay the
like-
wages of Usain
It's
Bolt.
a bit like the MLS where they have like the salary caps, but then the
Oh.
MLS can contribute
I
to the
thought you-
designated players. And
I
things
thought
like
he was
that.
going to go on about the drugs test he had to take, even though he's not a
Oh
professional.
no!
No, I didn't know.
Right, I didn't know about
that.
this.
But yeah, so actually, he could still sign for him, but as
I
it
mean-
stands at the minute, he's not there unless the
The
Australian FA can help
Australian
out.
FA would be stupid not to, because the amount of money that would generate.
dollar
in a game-
signs.
I mean,
Yeah.
the
Australian dollar
1.6 million
signs.
you put in, you will get back within a week.
No, you would in shirt sales. People in England would buy a Central Coast Mariners shirt. because the Bolt
Everyone.
brand.
Yeah.
There would be 100 countries in the world where you'd get someone buying a shirt.
Jamaica would be buying all of them.
Yeah.
My next story of the week, quite niche. I don't know if you heard this week, but the Jamaican women's football team qualified for the World Cup for the first time.
Yes.
That one you could have actually got away with saying segue, and you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
After your debacle last week,
Well,
you
there's a
mixed
bit
that
more.
up,
There's a
didn't
bit more to
I
it.
like-
So
well
actually,
done then, by
the
the way.
team didn't exist in 2010
you? Okay.
until Bob Marley's daughter.
I did hear this.
Bob Marley's daughter, basically, big football fan, managed to drum up support, finances, all of that. Managed to get the team started, and now, for the first time ever, considering that they didn't exist 8 years ago, they've now qualified for the Women's World Cup.
See,
Brilliant.
every little
That can only be at the second attempt.
every little thing will be all right.
Sorry to all listeners.
Three little birds. Moving on.
And my final one, Stansted FC of the Essex Senior League. I don't know if you saw this as well.
No.
They had a player sent off because he took a corner inside the quadrant, but he scuffed it out for a goal kick and he kicked the corner flag and the ref sent him off.
Oh, for God's sake. It's not as bad as Connor fighting their own players.
No, so there was
Common sense doesn't exist anymore.
No, and which, to be honest, is
Actually,
genuinely diabolical.
It depends on where the corner flag went after he kicked it.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
You're paying
really,
fines at that level. It's silly.
kicking a corner flag, that's not sending off, surely.
No, it's not. But as I said, it depends if it hit the crowd. If there was a crowd, because it was not on the day.
I still can't see how that warrants a sending off. I mean,
No.
the ref has to use some sort of common sense. But anyway, that's my mini stories of the week. But Craig.
Well, after watching, I got told this morning. Woke up and I saw Jeremy Kyle, and we saw.
Well, hang on. So you've got to point out you've been off work and you've watched a lot of Jeremy.
No,
Kyle.
I've actually it's the first day I've actually watched
think-
Jeremy Kyle.
I don't really care about the story. What I want to know is how you discovered this with Jeremy Kyle, because you must have some sort of dedicated viewership.
No. Someone sent me a message of Jermaine Pennant being on Jeremy Kyle.
So that's the story of the week.
Story
Jermaine
way is Jermaine Pennant, former Premier League player,
Former Champions League finalist.
man of the match in the Champions League final in 2007 against AC Milan.
Yeah.
Is somehow now on Jeremy Kyle.
No, I know that somehow he's brought out a new book and he's trying to sell it. That's exactly it. This is all a PR stunt to plug his book.
It goes back to Charlie's old saying, "There's no such thing as bad publicity."
No, exactly. That's true. No, it is.
I think one of the questions was like, Jeremy goes, how many times have you proposed to someone? What? Only once or twice. Or 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean,
shut up.
it's all an act. He's just basically he failed at Billericay and now he's
paid
trying
Jeremy Kyle off to do it.
Yeah, he's just trying to resurrect some semblance of a
trying to play
career.
Monopoly. But if you haven't read Monopoly, don't know what he's on about.
I'm not entirely
Monopoly.
sure this should go out in this podcast.
No, I'm not going to explain it. I'm saying go and buy his book. If
No,
you want
can
to know
I
about
say
Monopoly.
something? Don't go and buy his book.
Yeah.
Don't buy his book.
It'll
That's
be
what he wants.
fabricated anyway. It's a load of tosh, honestly.
So we are going to discuss the English Academy system. Now, I know you two have a lot of opinion on the English Academy system. Who wants to go first?
You can go first, mate. No, because mine will just be a rant. So we always end on a rant.
That's about right.
No, do you know what it is? I think, my opinion, the English Academy system is there to pretty much feed the 6, 7, 8 big clubs in the Premier League. And that's what it feels like in the way that they engineer it. The biggest thing for me, and this is something that I'll go back to, and it's really the only argument I'll have against it, and until someone can prove otherwise, is that in 2011 they got rid of the hour-and-a-half rule. So if you're not familiar with what that is, you couldn't play for an academy that was more than an hour and a half from.
Oh
where
yeah,
you lived. So that meant that obviously depending on where you lived,
Yes.
you had access to particular academies. Obviously up until you get to a point of a scholarship and go on from there.
Yeah.
But the problem is now, because of that, you have teams from all over the country coming to different areas and swallowing up the lower league teams.
We mentioned it briefly a few weeks ago, didn't we? Because I can't remember how it came up in one of our episodes that Norwich had a satellite academy at MK Dons.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, even more so. So actually, there's I won't name names, but there's a bloke at another school who I work with whose son is now at Tottenham Hotspur, and they paid Luton. He's 9 years old, by the way. This kid. Tottenham paid a sum of money for him. He said, and this is by his account completely true, Man City also came in for the boy. They were going to offer his dad a job, like some sort of sports coaching job, at 30 or 40 grand a week.
What?
This is for a boy in Luton. So you're talking
Age 9.
Age 9.
One of 40 or 50 they're going to pluck in at that age.
And the problem is, and that's exactly it, you're going to have 40 or 50. I mean, to a club like Man City, what's that? 30 or 40 grand to pay for someone's job, The point being, no guarantee of them a job at the end. What happens then? And that for me is where the biggest failing of the academy system is that you've now got basically feeding the bigger clubs because they can have access to anyone now. The moment they got rid of the hour-and-a-half rule, it killed it.
Do you know what my biggest problem with the academy system and with that story is? That football was the last thing talked about.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, completely agreed.
How have we got to that stage?
Yeah, as Man City, we're also going to offer, he's got an older sister at a place at a grammar school, all this. Honestly, they were giving him the work. I mean, the kids are very talented. You can't knock that. No guarantee of him ever getting a contract at the end of it.
Yeah, that's the main bit at the end is the kid going to, obviously in a few years' time, when he gets to 16 years old,
and will
he get a contract?
Well, the reason we started off with that is that's obviously the main point of this discussion is actually the 16 to 18-year-old thing. But for me, it stems back to the access that these clubs have to kids
I think the
at
problem,
such an early age.
Exactly, I think that's taking the piss where you're getting kids from like 4 years old. Oh yeah, he's in the main line. What? No,
Well,
that
what
doesn't make any
happens
sense.
is you end up doing what like Brentford did. You scrap the youth system. If you're a smaller club like Brentford and you know that Chelsea can have access to pretty much any kid now, now technically any kid in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
You know,
the
someone like
world.
Brentford. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, in the world.
You're EU, technically.
But Brentford aren't going to compete with that, and probably wisely, inverted commas, they said, right, well, let's just scrap.
And then they'll just take the players that get released at 16 and take their pick out of them.
Exactly.
But then it does lead on quite nicely to my bit for 16 to 18s is obviously there used to be virtually no support to 16-year-olds because what we do forget is all those people in the academy, out of the 20 or so at 15 years of age, about 4 or 5 get offered a scholarship.
Yeah.
2 years, and then at the end of that scholarship, 1 or 2 get offered a professional deal, and then after that, maybe 1 in 10 makes it as after their first year professional, and most of them end up playing down in leagues like you guys are in.
Well, no, it's true. I mean, I'll be brutally honest. The from my very limited, I mean, I was at Stevens for a very short period of time when I was 16, you know, but I knew even then, as a 16-year-old, I'm only here, so that one lad in the centre midfield who was streets ahead of the rest of us, I'm only here so that he can basically get game time, because obviously, for a prospect like that, he needs to play games, and the only way to play games is to obviously have, you know, a squad. So that was all we were there for. We were there to get that one kid through, and I think unfortunately, that's great. When what happens to people,
that's not really fair though.
No, but what I'm saying, well, it is, isn't it? It's football at the end of the day. To them, they see that diamond in the middle of the centre of the park, or whatever. And we're there just to play. But that's the point. But that's where it fails.
And this is where my biggest point comes. We're not going to get into the details of it because the Elite Performance Plan came off a lot of mental health things and things like that from players who were released at 16 and 18. But the EFL has an official charity partnership with Mind, the mental health charity. And it's just a disgrace.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disgrace that they have that partnership while this is going on in the background. How does that work? You're basically saying, in tick box terms, we support this mental health charity. Text this number, you know, they put out the advertisement for it. And then in the background, they're causing a lot of the work.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I do... it's a worry in the sense for me of it is a dream for a lot of kids. I mean, you only got to speak to.
There's so few that can actually turn it down.
That's the thing. Yeah.
There's so few that can turn it down, and so many get left in that position, and they're not prepared for it. I know now with the 16 to 18, the scholars they put in a process to make sure they're doing college BTECs and things like that to make sure they get qualifications. But again, there's not really careers advice afterwards. But what about all those ones before 16? There's still not much in it.
No.
And it links back to things you've mentioned, where talking about the sums of money, but at smaller clubs. So like I take back to ones like where Arsenal took Jack Wilshere from Luton, for example. Until very recently, they didn't have to pay.
No, exactly.
And even now, it's nominal sums. It's absolutely astounding. The one other thing I'd say is, it's talking about, in terms of development of players, we always get onto the hype around players, the 1 or 2 who are those special gems. The 1 or 2 who are going to make it, are going to be the big next thing. As we seem to have an obsession with in this country. So in the Checkatrade Trophy now, we have these under-21 sides. Yeah. And also we have Football League teams who are playing basically the 16 and 17-year-olds off the bench. Luton played 3 or 4 in most games off the bench. And we had a famous case earlier this season with Rochdale.
That's it, I was going to say, was he 15?
He was 15, he had a school day, did his exams or whatever, and then played and then went back and did revision for exams, something stupid like that. But after that, the day after, there was a big, huge notice on social media. There was a big article on the BBC, and it was big comments about which Premier League team's going to take him in January.
Yeah, and it's...
How is that good?
And that's the thing. And
how is it good for football? How is it good for him? How is it good for his development? And how is it good for the English game?
But the thing is, you've got to remember, he's only played 1 game.
Exactly.
And
it's not if he played... Did he play in the first team at the weekend?
No.
So why are we raving about him? No, all due respect, he probably is a good player. I haven't watched him play.
But let the kids develop.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. You know, for me, it's very much cut and what's the word? Instant success. Like they are almost with the same attitude they have with managers now. It's right, instant success or nothing. And that's what happens to these kids. You're like, right, you're 17, you've broken into the first team. You either go and score 15 goals this year, or you're out in your era. And what happens to those boys then? You know?
The biggest problem with the Premier League academy system is that they're feeding those top 7 or 8 clubs who don't want the bloody players.
No, and that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, you've only got to look at Chelsea. I mean, I can't tell you the numbers. They have an obscene amount of players signed up who are out on loan at...
I think it's 40 odds.
2 or
Yeah,
Blackpool's changing now.
How can that A be allowed and B how can that actually be good for their development as a player? You
Well,
know,
there'll be
you're not
one or
sure where
two.
you are from month
There'll
to
be
month.
one or two, but there are so many that have suffered from
But
it.
the problem is, if you
compared.
keep signing foreign players like worth stupid amount of money,
But
what's the
what-
point?
but
What's
why-
the
but
point
they
in
worth
looking
that
in the-
money,
No,
aren't
that's what I'm saying. What's the point in looking in the academy?
But why are they doing that? Because they need instant results. They need instant
But
success.
my whole problem with the system is why are the FA, the EFL, the Premier League, whatever, they've set up a system that feeds the top clubs who don't want these people.
Yeah.
Feed the proper clubs that will use them. If those players come through and half of them at 17, 18 play in League 2, League 1, the National Leagues, North and South, their development will be so much better. That's what the Checker Trade Trophy's for. We say, you can all stockpile them in the top 6 and then play them in this competition.
Yeah.
Why not just let them play for them clubs to start with?
That's true, yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think the worrying thing is that you have lads who become almost institutionalised. You know, they've been at the club since they were 10 years old, go all the way through to, like you say, 16, maybe make the odd appearance in the Checker Trade, and then suddenly you're out in your Euro. And then, like you were saying earlier, without going into too much detail, the mental health side of it, that's, you know, that goes hand in hand with that. And there has to be a better way of doing it than that,
And
surely.
the problem is the ones in the Premier League who get those professional contracts, we're not talking about they've been offered a pro deal on a few hundred quid a week. They're on 3 or 4 grand.
No.
Yeah, I think that for the youngsters, I think there should be a limit on how much they should be getting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's
Cap.
such a...
But then again, it should be a cap for the
and they
top
should have
earners
to work.
anyway.
I've
They should have to work.
I've got to say, exactly, from an educational point of view, and being deadly serious, the impact it has on their education, these lads who invest so much time and so much effort into football, and I'm not saying that's wrong.
And they're
you know,
drained when
should
they're
be-
in school.
Exactly, so the results aren't... And the emphasis that clubs don't put on having a safety net, having a degree, having, you know, is terrible because they're seen as a commodity, and you have to understand that these people are people. And that for me, that's the bit that hurts me the most about this system, is that these lads are just treated like a
You're feeding
number.
people a dream, but at least give them something to fall back on if you're not going to get them a dream.
because otherwise
Which they only do for the 16 to 18 scholars, really.
Yeah, and after that, that's it. You're done. I mean, they have these exit trials when they get rid of them, but
Yeah.
really, I mean, I watched a documentary on Sky a couple of
Where
years
do they
ago.
all go? There's not enough for all of them.
One, maybe two. I mean, there's a couple.
Lucky, yeah.
There's not enough places
A
at clubs
handful
for
of
all of them.
success stories. I think Marvin Sordell might have been one of them, and I say success stories, you know what I mean? But he's obviously in the pro game, who come out of an exit trial, but otherwise, you know, it's...
The last thing for me, really, you're talking about the overhype in the media. And the best example I think of it was maybe last month, Phil Foden against Oxford in the Carabao Cup.
Yep.
The day after, there was an article on TalkSport and Sky Sports. He could be the next Iniesta.
Yeah, it's shocking.
He's made about 5 appearances.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's now got a contract on like 30 grand a week or something. And
You look at
he's
the other
made
side of
5
it.
appearances.
the fella at Borussia Dortmund.
Oh, Sancho.
Well, he's
yeah.
made more than 5 appearances, but
Yeah,
he's made
no.
10 proper
but
appearances.
I mean, he's having a proper run in the team, you know,
Yeah.
and that for me is the difference. You're talking about someone who's an integral part of that team,
But
probably
the
should
difference-
get.
the
But
difference-
that's exactly
yeah,
yeah.
the
but
difference
he
is-
probably should get the headlines that he's getting because he's a regular player. He's in the squad. He's a very good player. You're getting, like you're saying, Phil Foden, who's made a handful of appearances, who's getting just as much accolade and acclaim for doing half of what the other fellas
The
done.
difference is Sancho has gone to outside England. He's gone to
Yeah,
Germany.
and that's the
difference.
biggest
Obviously,
difference.
Germany's youth system's totally
Which is
different
a
to what
route
ours is.
more players should take, particularly for attacking players in Germany. They give you freedom,
Yeah.
they let you play, they let you get involved in the game.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, it's 30 games before he's mentioned. He played loads of games last season, didn't get a
Exactly.
mention.
No. And to
Just
bring
the
it
way
round
the
in-
English media go to it, it's just silly.
Well, exactly, and to bring it around into full circle, that all stems from the fact that we're trying to feed these bigger clubs, and that's where you end up. And for me, I think it'll be more and more common now that you end up with teams like Brentford who go, right, do you know what? We can't afford to, or it's not worth our while having a youth system. Let's scrap it, and then all that does is you get more lads who's just getting their hearts broken at bigger clubs who realistically they're never, ever, ever going to get a look in.
And I know it's hard and it's impossible to turn down a dream, and in many cases it's impossible to turn down a job for 40,000 things. But sometimes I feel like some parents are so keen to push the dream that they'll say, well, you go to Arsenal, you can say you've been at Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I can say, well, my son's at Arsenal.
No,
or my
definitely.
daughter's at Arsenal. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
Rather
was-
than thinking, if this kid stays at Luton, Rochdale, wherever, they've got better chances.
Yes, yeah.
That's actually better for their development.
definitely.
Forget the name, forget the, my mate at school might play for
Yeah.
Arsenal. I don't care, I'm actually going to make
No.
it.
Yeah, but that'd be good for you if obviously more local. Like, oh, your son's at Scunthorpe. Oh, like it's for the people at Scunthorpe. Oh,
Yeah.
it's good for it's more good for local than it would be. Oh,
It's not as good to
because
brag
my
about though, is it?
No, and that's
no,
the thing.
but
you know,
yeah, but if you'll be a smug, arrogant prick if you go and say, oh, because my son's at Manchester City because I'm living in bloody
I
South
didn't-
London.
I
No,
didn't,
but
want,
that's
I didn't want to call people smug, arrogant pricks, but thank you for doing it for me.
But I know you're probably not going to like this because of the club it is, but Watford have that thing now which I think is also equally as dangerous, where if you're part of their academy, you know, the top level of the academy, excuse me, you get enrolled at a school, I think it's in Harefield, is that nearby?
Hairfield's in
Yeah.
Middlesex.
No, not Harefield, what's around there? It
Hereford's
might be Hertford.
Hairfield's
Anyway.
in Hertfordshire.
I'll
it's not
check,
far.
I'll check
No.
it properly.
No,
Anyway,
it's
there
fine.
is, no, it definitely is Harefield. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, you end up at a school, so all of the academy players then go. They like become boarders at a school.
Mm-hmm.
But the point being, you know, okay, they get an education and things like that. Is that a better way of doing it? But then, how can smaller clubs like Luton, for example, how can you compete with that? You can't. It's impossible. So then you get offered staying at Luton, where there probably is no difference in the coaching. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. No difference in the coach between say Luton and Watford, but you get all this glitz and glamour and all of that, and yet it's the smaller clubs where they're going to get a better opportunity, going to get
Yeah,
probably,
more game time,
They
yeah.
probably become a better footballer, but they almost gets blinded by this other stuff. you know?
The only other point I want to make is obviously most of the players that make it in England are the ones that have the best characters normally. Mm-hmm. But what most academies look for, or most of this system looks for, is the best footballers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, rightly so to an extent, you have to look for the best technical
course.
players, but I feel characters ignored a bit too much because there are so many people, and we know examples of it locally where players have been plucked up. They're amazing talents, but
Yeah.
you could have said at 11 or 12 they're never going to make
Well,
it.
yeah. I mean, I don't want
They're
to.
never going to make it. Their attitude will let them down.
We're not going to slur people, but there was someone you don't name names, but you went to school with who had a very promising career. You know, at a professional club.
Yes.
Now he's on the scrap heap, and that was, and I'm sure you'd agree. You could have predicted that 5-6 years before he'd even gone there.
Absolutely, and
You know?
that's the thing academies don't look at. And again, because they don't focus on the educational
exactly.
side as much at the younger
And that's-
school ages, because
yeah.
school do it, and that's where they miss out on those things. They don't see and understand the character because all they've got is them in them training sessions.
Yeah, and again, to sort of finish it off, for them, it's all about numbers, all about... They're a commodity, aren't they? And I think you lose that human element. The moment you do that, you're on a very, very dangerous sort of slope.
And now it's time for question of the day, and it's currently Cody 2, Charlie 2.
Desmond Tutu.
Yeah, Desmond 2, as Soccer Said like to say it. So the question today is, there are 10 clubs currently in the National League, North and South, formed as Phoenix clubs. So they're clubs that have folded and reformed.
We do like doing long lists, don't we, Charlie?
We do.
We do like long list. So if it ends 5 all, there'll be a spare question.
I'm sure it won't end
I
5 all, will it,
we'll
Craig?
have to wait and see.
No,
So,
I can guarantee that. What are
uh,
we getting, like first to 3 or 4 or something? Surely if you get...
well, if you get... No,
Okay.
6.
Right.
One of us will
6.
surrender.
Can we tap out if we...
If you struggle, then
Okay.
yeah.
Right, okay.
So-
I'll go first.
Yes,
I'll
go
go
for
for Hereford.
Yes. They were Hereford United until they folded in 2014, now Hereford FC.
The only one I know is Darlington.
Yeah, so Darlington were Darlington FC till 2012. They changed the name to Darlington 1883, but they're now changed the name back to Darlington FC.
What about, I don't know if they went bust, but Stockport County?
No.
Oh, okay, right. No, it's only because they played Hereford the other day, and that was actually a League 2 game.
It was a League 2 game,
Anyway.
yeah. But no.
Not Stockport.
The only other one I can think of, and we have had a 6-minute delay, I need to point out at this point, is Halifax.
Yes, so Halifax Town AFC, they were until 2007, so they reformed as FC Halifax Town.
Torquay.
No. Torquay.
I thought AFC Forward were.
No.
No?
No, they just changed names.
Truro.
No.
I've got a third one.
Okay.
Telford. AFC Telford now.
Yes, so Telford United, they were until 2014, now they're AFC Telford.
I'm going to go for Gateshead.
Yes! Gateshead. So Gateshead AFC, they were until 1973 and they changed the name, changed to Gateshead FC. So 3-2.
You sound like you weren't expecting. You've never looked more shocked in your life.
Right, so what's that?
3-2.
3-2. I think I've got one. Chester.
Yes.
Oh, gosh, yes, of course they were.
Yes, so Chester City till 2010
what's
until
that
they
put
rolled
on
out of the
4?
league. Now Chester FC. So
I've
yeah,
got another one
4-2.
now as
Oh, no, you need one more.
Well, he's
I feel
2
like-
already.
I feel like Chris Waddle in 1990. I will go for...
Saw a great clip in the week. Chris Waddle in the Masters.
Yeah,
League.
unbelievable, isn't it? I know it's not, but I'm going to go for Blythe Spartans.
No.
Oh,
I'm going to go, Craig. Nuneaton.
Yes.
Go on, I got 5.
So Nuneaton Borough were until 2008, so they changed to Nuneaton Town, but they now changed the name back to Nuneaton
And
Borough.
they're soon
oh
going to be
that was, we spoke about that.
And
a few
we spoke
weeks
about
ago.
that last week.
episode.
Oh,
So
Have we got all
He
the
wins,
North
yeah,
teams then?
5.
uh,
Oh no, we need one more, don't we?
no, we haven't actually.
No?
No.
Well, I've looked at the other
I've
two
tapped
tables
out.
and I haven't got a
Oh,
clue.
Yeah,
Charlie said that.
I've
So
tapped out. There's no way.
Cody
I'm
has
Come on, mate,
won
I've
this
got
week.
5 there.
getting 4 out of that.
Can we just point out for the listeners that took nearly 15 minutes?
Yes, I will give you the rest of them right now. So
Shocking
the rest of
beat,
it.
God.
So in the National League North, it was Bradford Park Avenue.
Right.
So
yeah.
they folded in 1974, but reformed back in 1984,
Oh,
Right.
Just before our time.
just before your time. In the National League, there was Aldershot.
I thought about that.
So they folded in 1992, and obviously came back to Aldershot Town. And last one was Maidstone United.
Right.
So
Wouldn't
they
have guessed that
folded,
in a million years.
No,
I just skipped straight
folded
past
in
them.
1992, but came back as Maidstone Victor, and then changed the back name to Maidstone United. So overall, Cody won because Charlie was clueless.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, 15 minutes to get 5 answers is pretty close.
Yeah, that's the hardest question they've had, and that's why it took so
the
long.
leagues we claim to love.
I don't think I've ever tapped out of a quiz before, but that was just impossible. But yeah.
So-
no, fair play to him. 3-2 up there.
3-2 Cody. And that's it for today's show. Long-winded, ranty question day show.
What a painful episode that was.
Join us on Tuesday. We'll have another midweek rant. This week is going to be about pet predictions, which you'll find out I will fucking hate.
As with most things.
Yeah. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.